In a previous video, you learned what it means leaky gut and how it can actually cause leaky brain. Now you know what you should avoid. You should not stress yourself. You should not drink alcohol. You should avoid any inflammation that you have in your body, which you can check in your blood test results looking at different markers. And then use even antioxidants, for example, like the enzogenol, to protect you from the inflammation. You should maybe consider or check with your doctor what medication you are using and see if they have any side effects or if they are damaging your gut or the stomach. And now we are going to look at the food that is anti-nutrients. So anti-nutrients can be actually even healthy food that you have been eating until now, and you didn't even know that it's bad. So it's oxalates. Oxalates are in spinach, sesame seeds, tea, and soya bean. So all these healthy products, but what it actually makes, they are enzyme inhibitors, and they prevent the absorption of iron and calcium. So you know that enzyme is basically speeding up the reaction in the body. It's breaking down, it's like scissors, it's breaking down the food. So if you, for example, eat way too much spinach and your diet is not diverse as it should be, and you eat spinach every single day, and you drink green tea or black tea every single day, then maybe you don't have enough iron and calcium. So we know that iron is very important for the red blood cells because the hemoglobin that is in red blood cells is carrying the iron and oxygen into the oxygen into every cell in the body. We know that calcium is important for the bones, for the strong teeth, but calcium is actually needed for neurotransmitters. So now you know the two main important neurotransmitters, which is dopamine and serotonin, and they are released from the neurons like a domino effect only with the burst of calcium. So basically, calcium floods these synapses and they release the neurotransmitters into the bloodstream. Yeah? So lack of calcium, lack of this propagation. Lectins. Maybe you have heard about lectins. So they trigger autoimmune disease and they damage the gut lining, and they also change the microbiota because lectins are basically poisons, it's toxins. So it kills the microbiota. And again, it's soya beans, peanuts, beans. So relatively healthy food that is actually causing leaky gut. So if you suffer with bloating, farting, diarrhea, constipation, irritable bowel disease, you maybe want to avoid the lectins, or if you don't want to avoid beans completely because you are, for example, vegan, vegetarian, and that is the only source of protein for you, then try to use red lentils, yellow lentils, and combine it with kombu, right? So when you boil it, you put there this wheat, seaweed, that actually absorbs the lectins. Then we have glucosinolates, and they interfere with iodine absorption. So for people who suffer with hypothyroidism, which means that they don't have enough thyroid and their metabolism is slowing down and they have cold hands and feet, and even, for example, the eyebrow is falling off, or they have only like the last part is not there and they have only the top of the eyebrow. They suffer with anxiety, constipation, because we need thyroid hormones basically to boost our metabolism. So in that case, glucosinolates, which is cruciferous vegetable. So cruciferous vegetable is everything that has sulfur in it. Kale, broccoli, cauliflower. So that is healthy food, but doesn't serve you, the person with hypothyroidism. Then, for example, phytic acid. So it's in nuts, seeds, and grains. So I recommend nuts and seeds, but you see, here it is about the personalized diet, because not everybody can digest and absorb nuts and seeds, and not everybody who suffers with irritable bowel syndrome should eat nuts. Gluten. I would say gluten is for everybody, even if you don't have a celiac disease, even if you don't have gluten intolerance. I invite you to try to stay for 3 weeks completely gluten-free, and you will observe the difference in your digestion and elimination of the stool. So where is gluten? Gluten is basically everywhere, and fraction of it are, for example, even in oats. So you have to choose wisely. However, I don't recommend going to the supermarket and buying gluten-free products, because they are usually made from corn, and corn is giving to pigs to grow and become fat. Yeah? So it's you can replace the gluten with the following flours if you like them. So almonds, you can make your own almond flour, or you can buy almond flour already in a supermarket. Buckwheat, because I am a buckwheat queen and I use buckwheat for everything. Buckwheat is high in rutin. Rutin helps to make the elasticity of every vein, artery in your body. So it's protecting you against the cardiovascular disease. So it's really my favorite, and it actually is a little bit like a glue, even though it doesn't have any gluten, and it is very high in B vitamins. Millet. So millet, you can make porridge from millet. You can use it instead of couscous. And then just in case you don't suffer with bloating, you can use the chickpeas flour or chickpeas from the can. Let's look at the gastrointestinal wall. So we know that we need to have the barrier firm. So what do we need for that? We need probiotics, prebiotics, antioxidants, vitamin A, and vitamin A is only in animal products. You can supplement it. Just in case you decide to supplement it, make sure that you are not smoker or past smoker, because that could cause cancer. Yeah, research showed this. So don't supplement vitamin A in that case. Vitamin C is everywhere. It's in fruit, vegetable, for example, broccoli, red pepper, they are extremely high in vitamin C. Zinc is in pumpkin seeds and seafood, but of course you can supplement it as well. And magnesium is in greens, because magnesium is basically like a blood, the green blood in every plant. So if you eat rucola or any green leafy vegetable, L-glutamine is one amino acid, and you find it only in animal products, or you can buy the protein shakes that I was talking about in some of my videos. Vitamin D3, even though people think they can get it from the sunshine in summer, if you have darker skin, therefore the melanocytes, which are the cells that protect you from getting burned from the sun, they also protect you from UVA. And UVA is what actually needs to enter inside to trigger the vitamin D. And then the vitamin D needs to be turned from vitamin D2 to vitamin D3, and then even in kidneys. So it's like a 3-step process. And the chances that you get enough vitamin D from the sunshine is very low. And therefore you should supplement vitamin D either every single day, 4,000 international units, or once a week or twice a week, larger doses. And you can talk to a nutritionist or to your doctor to get the supplements. And omega-3, they're either in fish or in linseeds, flax seeds, and nuts. And they're important for the brain health, but actually for every cell in the body, because they are part of the phospholipid bilayer in every cell. But now we look deeply into the probiotics and prebiotics. So what are probiotics? So it's the actual bacteria. It's these 500 different species, and we need to take them from different sources. So One of them is, for example, fermented food. I always say, look what your ancestors were eating. So if you come from Germany or Czech Republic or like Eastern Europe, it will be probably sauerkraut, which is fermented cabbage, or pickles, which is these small cucumbers or any other fermented food. They know why they were preserving the vegetable and never needed the fridge. So as in the room temperature, it ferments, the bacteria eat the sugar that is in the product. So cabbage has sugar, beetroot has sugar, every vegetable has sugar, otherwise it wouldn't be able to grow. And then these bacteria grow with it, so it creates different colonies. You eat it, and these colonies, this healthy lactobacillus bifidobacteria, are growing in you, and in turn create energy for the enterocytes. And enterocytes, the gut wall cells, can create dopamine and serotonin, and you feel happy. And some of the short chain fatty acids that are produced, the energy, is even used by your brain. And that's why if you have a healthy gut and you do, for example, ketogenic diet, or you are fasting for 2 or 3 days, you don't feel hungry because your gut is producing the energy and sending it to your brain and every cell in the body. Fermented food is also great when you combine it with normal food. So for example, 1 spoon of kimchi, because it has the enzymes. So you know that enzymes are the scissors that are chopping the individual molecules and help you in a better way to absorb the food, digest it and absorb it and utilize it. Yeah, so enzymes are very important. And also it produces lactic acid. So maybe you have heard about lactic acid. Is this burning in your muscles when you are exercising? Because it's this anaerobic creation of the energy. And we have bacteria that can also in our intestine create lactic acid. And why is it good? So first of all, it's like energy for the body. And second, it kills the bad bacteria. Yeah. So it protects it. It creates this environment. Maybe you have seen products for the vagina to clean, and there is always lactic acid in that product as well. Yeah, to kill the bad bacteria, but keep your good bacteria, lactobacillus, in the vagina healthy. So where do we find all these probiotics, and what is the probiotic food? So it's kefir, yogurt, tempeh, which is from a soya product, sauerkraut, kimchi, which is this Vietnamese fermented cabbage, natto, it's again from fermented soya beans, kombucha or kombucha, depends how you pronounce it. It's basically a mushroom that is fed with sugar, and it creates all these bubbles. So it's like a fizzy drink, probiotic fizzy drink. Pickles and apple cider vinegar. I'm a big fan of apple cider vinegar. When you are buying it, you have to make sure that you buy unpasteurized and unfiltered apple cider vinegar, because you actually want this mother culture, the probiotics in it. If you buy the pasteurized one, everything has been killed. Yeah, so no pasteurized apple cider vinegar. And why do we use it? It has many benefits. It has like 20-30 benefits that the research showed. It's improving the insulin sensitivity, which means that your body is utilizing the sugar, the carbohydrates that you eat in a better way, and turns it in the cells in mitochondria into the energy. And it's also antibacterial, so it kills in the stomach when you, for example, make dressing from apple cider vinegar, or if you put a spoon into the water and you drink it before every meal. So not only it will kill all the bacteria that you potentially eat with the food, but it also prepares the stomach and makes more hydrochloric acid for the digestion. So what is prebiotic? So the only change is here that it's E, it's not O, prebiotic. And this is basically food for the bacteria. So the good bacteria, they don't want to eat hamburgers, pizza, and drink alcohol. No, no, no. They don't send us this signal. The good bacteria, they like oligosaccharides. Oligo is many, and saccharides mean sugar. But it's not a simple sugar, right? It's these long, complicated molecules. And dietary fiber. So what that means, fiber has no calories, and there are many kinds of fiber that our human body cannot break down, but the bacteria can, and they love it. So it is also a food that is producing a gas. So here is a warning. If you suffer with bloating, farting, diarrheas, you have to go very slowly, or maybe you actually have to avoid this food, kill the bad bacteria, repopulate the good bacteria, and then, only then, you're going to feed the good bacteria with prebiotic food. So it's for example, chicory root, because it has inulin. And it can be a red chicory, and it can be just the root, any chicory that you can find in the supermarket, or dandelion greens. It's actually very popular in spring in French markets. Yeah, the farmers just go into fields, they pull these dandelion greens, and people eat it because they know it's really good to repopulate after the winter, the microbiota. And also, because it's a little bit bitter, it's producing bile. And bile is breaking down the fat, right? It's this emulsification, breaks down the molecules of the fat, and we either utilize it for energy or we excrete it in the stool. But we don't produce cholesterol, especially the bad cholesterol. No, no, no. So this bitter food is always good. Artichoke. So artichoke is bloating nearly everybody because it's like a party food for the bacteria. They absolutely love it. So just make sure when you eat it. Garlic, onion, leek. So everything that comes from this like onion family is a very good prebiotic, and especially in a raw form. So for example, the research showed that this most active ingredients in garlic, when they are exposed to the oxygen, to the air, after 20 minutes, you get the best benefit. So when you crush the garlic, give it 10, 20 minutes before you actually eat it. And raw is, of course, better than cooked, because everything that you cook, you kill. Asparagus is very good. Banana, and here it's actually, the research showed it's a green banana, so not the completely ripe banana that has the black dots on the skin. That one is really high in sugar, but when it's slightly green, it has like this resistant starch that our body cannot break down, and it's a food for bacteria. So again, careful in case you are bloated. Flaxseed. So flaxseed is a superfood. If you know me, and if you had ever the private one-to-one, you know that I bring the flour from flax seeds, because I want you to drink it in the morning. So you mix it with the water, you let it stand, and then drink it in the morning, because it's a fiber for your bacteria. It is very high in omega-3, and also over the night, it creates this mucin, this gel. And the gel, when you drink it, it creates the barrier in your intestine. So all these 9 meters are covered in this gel. And the gel then has the immune system, this secretory immunoglobulin A, from the vitamin A, that are protecting you against parasites, bacteria, and also protect the lining so that you don't have a leaky gut. Oats, especially when you soak them overnight, for example, in the water, they also create this gel, and it's high in beta glucans. So it's also protecting and calming the intestine. 1 to 2 spoons, and then you can mix it into like any drink, into smoothie, into pancakes. You can mix it into yogurt. And apples, because apples are high in pectin. Pectin is this like gel-like substance that also creates the gel everywhere in your intestine. So now you know what are the prebiotics, which food to include, and you also know that you have to go slowly introducing it to your good bacteria. We also want to look at the plant polyphenols and antioxidants. So now you know what is the difference between antioxidants and free radicals. So antioxidants are the goodies that are protecting every cell in our body from the damage. And free radicals are the baddies that are actually damaging the DNA structure, damaging any cellular structure, damaging the enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, and we want to fight it. So berries are the highest in antioxidants. So blueberries, preferably wild. Every fruit and vegetable that is wild has more antioxidants because it had to basically protect itself from the harsh environment, from the wind, from the rain, from the hailstorm, from the sunshine. Yeah? And in this protective barrier, there are lots of polyphenols, these antioxidants. So you have heard about resveratrol in red wine. You know about enzogenol now from the pine bark. And I am a big fan of Brain Boost, which is basically a powder from blackcurrant from New Zealand. And it has many other antioxidants. There is beetroot, and I mix it into every cocktail. I mix it into yogurt. I can mix it in a shaker just with water so that I have enough antioxidants in my body. Cocoa powder. So it has to be raw cocoa powder and a dark chocolate. So darker the chocolate, like 90%, more of the cocoa powder you get there and more antioxidants, especially if it's organic. Green tea. It has ECGC, so it's a very good antioxidant. But with green tea, be careful because it has tannins, and tannins are actually contracting the walls of the stomach. And if you drink green tea on empty stomach, you might feel actually sick. It's also lowering the blood pressure. So I recommend drinking green tea after lunch or after your main meal, but not in the evening because it's also like jittery and chances are you might not fall asleep easily. So 1 cup a day after the lunch. And then all the herbs are full of polyphenols. So cloves, peppermint, star anise, rosemary, thyme, sage, oregano. So use them as much as possible. And they don't have to be fresh from your garden. They can be even dried. Flax seeds and hazelnuts, and obviously even other kinds of nuts. But be careful about the anti-nutrients. So don't overdo it on things and have this variety. So one day it will be peanuts, one day hazelnuts, one day Brazil nuts, one day almonds. Just choose whatever and listen to your body. And of course, spices like curcumin, ginger, saffron. So saffron is very expensive. You use only a little bit, for example, in paella, if you make from the natural rice or from the black rice, or any risotto. You can use it even as an infusion in a tea. Fresh ginger, you can grate fresh ginger, mix it actually with cloves, star anise, and boil it in the water, and then just drink it during the day. It helps with the insulin sensitivity. It's microbial. It is actually helping to calm down the intestine. In the winter, it's ideal. And curcumin, yeah, so you can add it to the food, but research showed that it doesn't have the therapeutic dose, and therefore I recommend supplementing it. Spinach, it's really high in antioxidants. So now let's just recap. So serotonin is this feel-good hormone, and which building blocks it needs before we get to the end product. So it's amino acids like tryptophan, tyrosine, and phenylalanine. So all of them you find in animal products. If you eat eggs, if you eat meat, or if you use the supplement shakes, the protein shakes, you will have it there. Tryptophan is, for example, in chicken. So very, very high in chicken. And is even in cashew nuts. But I don't recommend eating cashew nuts because they're bloating and because of other sustainability reasons. You need all these minerals: calcium, molybdenum, iron, copper, potassium, phosphorus, zinc, niacin, riboflavin. Those are B vitamins. And if you are not sure if you take all of them per day, I recommend using multivitamins because our soil, unfortunately, is depleted. For example, selenium is not anymore in the soil. So the only place where you can get it is Brazil nuts or the supplements. And now you know that the most important workers who actually help you in having this feel-good hormone serotonin is microbiota. You know how to repopulate them. You know how to keep them happy with the food. Now, just in case you are bloated and you say, but Blanca, what should I avoid? So here is a list of food. This is actually science-based. It comes from the Monash University in Australia. And this is a low FODMAP diet. So FODMAP stands for fructo, oligo, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And polyols, it's all this xylitol, mannitol, all these artificial sugars or even natural sugars that our bacteria don't like. It's even, for example, in chewing gums. So like avoid chewing gums. And you can download this app and you can type there what food you are eating, and it shows you whether it's high in FODMAP or low. However, this diet, it's not for a lifetime. This you can do for 1 month just to find out which food is bloating you and why. And if you discover that everything is bloating you, you most probably have a leaky gut or dysbiosis or SIBO, and then you need to treat it. I, for example, even use this device. So this is a hydrogen breath test. You can connect it with the app. You can blow and you can see which food was bloating you. So for example, I would be testing, or I did test for me. So for me, it's, for example, mango. Yeah. So if I eat mango and I blow, the bacteria are feeding on it because I don't have digestive enzymes to break down fructose, so everything that is high in fructose, and therefore they will eat it and it will create gas, and I will be bloated, I will have cramps in my stomach, and I will be farting, and that's what I don't want. So I avoid this food for a lifetime. But this machine even shows you what is your threshold, because maybe you will discover that you can have I don't know, 3 pieces of onion and you are fine. But if you eat the whole onion, you are not good. If the onion is raw, it's worse. If it's cooked, it's okay. So you test it, because this is so individual. You might discover that broccoli is fine, but that beetroot is bloating you, or that ricotta is fine and ice cream is bloating you. So it's all about trial and error, and it's personalized diet. And I will be happy to have a private session with you and lead you through that based on what you share with me. Here are just some ideas of what you can cook on a low FODMAP diet if you want to avoid bloating. And this is for a stomach gentle diet. So for example, you might not be bloated and farted and suffer with diarrhea or constipation, but you suffer with heartburn. And in that case, you want your stomach that is upset, maybe even from H. pylori, this Helicobacter, and you would need to investigate. So where is the problem? In either way, you don't want to be constipated. And constipation means that the food that you were eating, you don't see in your stool within 24 hours. You maybe see it there in 48 hours, 72 hours. So even if you go to the toilet every single day, you need to track what was there. That's why I recommend the beetroot test, because if you eat lots of beetroot and then you observe it, you might discover that actually it took 2 or 3 days to see red stool. If you want to kickstart your digestion, you definitely want to avoid gluten, inflammatory food, and stress. Because remember, if you are stressed, the vagus nerve that is connected to your intestine is paralyzed, and it's even hijacked by a bad bacteria, and you might be constipated. So the protocol to remove the constipation is using the 2 spoons of the crushed linseed, soaking it overnight, then drinking the liquid in the morning or mixing it in any food. Consuming 2 green kiwi fruits, even with the skin, drinking ½ liter of a lukewarm water, which can be either with a little bit of a lemon juice or the apple cider vinegar. And every evening, before you go to sleep, 1 to 2 hours, you take 300 milligrams of magnesium hydroxide that has been shown to remove the constipation. You can use soluble fiber, which is a psyllium husk. You can buy it in every healthy food shop, and repopulate your microbiota by probiotics. And then, of course, biofeedback, yoga, meditation, but mostly talking to someone who helps you to find out what you truly want in your life. Because if you don't know where you go, if you only have some wishes but no plan, you will not reach the destination. And I want to leave you with powerful, powerful message. So Dalai Lama was once asked what surprised him most about humanity. And he answered, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money. And then he sacrifices the money to recuperate the health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he doesn't enjoy the present moment. So the result being that he does not live in the present nor the future. So he lives as if he's never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. I think it's